everyone, and welcome to round 2 and race 3 and 4 of the all-new 2020 Trans Am by Pirelli Esports Championship. We're live from the beautiful Braselton, Georgia circuit that is the iconic Michelin Road Atlanta. Situated in the rolling hills of northeast Georgia, about 35 miles from Atlanta, this 750-acre, 2.5-mile track is one of the most challenging in North America. And it's going to be some real wheel-to-wheel stuff. I'm Jonathan Green, and I'm joined once again by Ben Sissel as we head to Road Atlanta. Trans Am has been coming here for now, almost 25 years, Ben, and it's certainly one of the drivers' favorite circuits. It's also a big favorite for the sim race.
Yeah, Road Atlanta, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta is always a favorite of our drivers. They love coming here. It's a great location, great out in the hills. And now, as we're seeing, Jonathan, as they're coming out for qualifying, they have their actual liveries on the cars, and they look beautiful.
Yeah, they absolutely do. I want to put a shout out to a set of course, UMG and Torque Motorsports for putting all this together for the Trans Am series here in North America. And there's no question, with the liveries as they are, we really get now a chance to see some individualism. As we see one of the favorites, the number 4, Tyler Kicera, who is currently second in the championship after the first 2 races, which were held, if you're joining us for the first time, at Laguna Seca in California. And after that round, it was Josh Hurley who got the best of the spoils. He leads the championship by 60 points. He's 12 ahead of Tyler Kicera, and Ernie Francis Jr., our 6-time real-life champion, is in 3rd ahead of one of the youngsters who's joining Trans Am full-time this year. That's JP Southern. It's going to be tough, this track, Ben, because as you can see, as we look down at the S's here, this is not an easy track in real life, and it, I reckon, will be just as hard as the sim race as we dive into what is turn 6, one of the very tight right-handers.
Yeah, it is. It's always a tough track. And talking to some of the drivers today, they were saying they love the track in sim and in real life, but they were saying a little bit through turn 3 and 4 and 5, the curbing is different in the sim than in real life, so that's taken some getting used to. Let me go over the rules real quick, Jonathan, if you don't mind. Today we're doing 15 laps at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, and then after that, race 1, 15, the top 10 from that, we invert the field. So basically the top 10 goes to the back, and we start another 15-lap race. And then, Jonathan, can you go over some of the penalties that were incurred at the road? At Laguna Seca last week?
Yes. Now, those penalties are put on after the race is over, and we had several drivers who were looked at because of contact, generally speaking. Some were ignored, others were given some kilo weight. So, for example, Archer has 40 kilograms. Drew Burnley 120 kilos, and that was basically for multiple contact and reckless driving. And he actually came onto the track towards incoming traffic, so he's got a very heavy penalty. Cameron Parsons has also got 40 kilos, Carl Reitquist 40 kilos, and Boris Said is carrying an extra 80 kilos. And that will be significant as they go on. But of course, they can a good result today and good behavior today, and that weight can go away.
Yeah, Jonathan, looking at the leaderboard, there aren't really any surprises except for Cam Eben, number 5. He's new with us with this series. His grandfather, Cliff Eben, is Trans Am royalty. He's been with us for a long time. Cliff tends to race at like Mid-Ohio with us, at Road Atlanta, at Indy, but he always does really well in the TA class. It's good to see Cam up there, but it's surprised to see him in the top 5 because our top 10 in this virtual Trans Am series is really good.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the drivers on one of the practice races, and they said that Cam Eben, he's only 17 years old, and he's what we call a futures Trans Am, which means he has a line of dynasty, as it were. His family's involved, and that was Cliff, of course. I've seen Cliff race as well, but he's actually a kart racer from Appleton, Wisconsin. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on him because he's obviously already become a factor in the top 8 as we're on board with another one of the favorites, Cameron Lawrence. And Cameron, with that 3-dimensional services livery, really looking good. Doug Peterson, who is on the front line of coronavirus at the moment, making equipment for the healthcare people here across America. So I want to give a good shout out to Doug Peterson and his team at 3-Dimensional Services, who are doing a sterling job, as is Kerry Hitt and also the Prefix team. A lot of people involved frontline to help the responders. So we're having a bit of fun with this e-sport, but in real life, a lot of our drivers are using their time usefully to also help with basically transforming their workshops into a chance to make equipment and help the cause, so to speak.
Yeah, actually, the number 89 of Scott Borchetta that's in the race today, we want to thank him. He owns Big Machine Vodka with his brother, and immediately when this happened, the COVID-19, they switched over to making hand sanitizer. And as soon as Trans Am and SVRA gets back to racing, they are providing hand sanitizer for all of our racers, drivers, paddock, crew, spectators, whatever. So we want to thank them as well.
You just saw Ernie Francis there making a move at turn 10. That's the classic overtake, down the dip at the bottom of turn 10 and then up the hill. And Ernie Francis Jr., an absolute master at that overtaking. But yes, it's funny, it's coincidental you say that Big Machine Vodka started making the sanitizer, because as the coronavirus hit, that's what I started drinking on a daily basis. So that's good.
Yeah, it all works out. But man, look at this leaderboard here. It seems like, I think, Jonathan, had you told us this was going to happen, we would have almost predicted this top 10. Hurley, Kicera are always fast. They're guys that are actually using the VR headsets. Thomas Merrill always has a good showing. Edward Sevadjian, Nick Racino, Ernie Francis Jr. Then we have Dylan Archer, who always seems to do really well with the Sims. RJ Lopez. Our top 10 is kind of a who's who in Trans Am.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see where Scott Lagacy Jr. comes out. Of course, he's one of our regular fast guys, but he's down in 22nd. Not a regular sim driver, I may add. Also, a couple of new boys we should mention. We've mentioned it's good to see Kent Vaccaro out there. And if you know, Kent did a 6th place at Watkins Glen, just a one-off, I think. But he's been a single-seater driver up until now. And I've been watching him in Formula 3 last season and in Formula 4 before that. And before that, he was a car expert. And here's Josh Hurley. We're on board with our championship leader, Jetco Racing, McAleese and Associates. Got a little bit of a traffic ahead of him. He heads down with just over 2 minutes to go in our qualifying session. Nick Racino getting up into the top 3. Eben posting a fastest lap of 1:20.1. That moved him to 5th. Good to see Dallas Tech's Ed Sevadjian. Now, you've got a story about Ed. He's been having quite a week.
Yeah, it's funny. We talked after his race last weekend where he did really well, and he said he had bought 2 VR headsets on Craigslist. And then talking to him today, he said he tried them out Sunday night, and he was car sick for the next 4 days. But knowing Edward, the greatest story, he didn't give up. He said he went out and he bought like ginger root, he bought all the Dramamine to try it again, but he said he's still not ready for VR. So I think today we only have 3 drivers on VR, but 2 of the fastest. So we've got Tyler Kicera and Josh Hurley on VR, and then Kent Vaccaro, a newcomer, is on VR, and you were talking about him earlier.
Ooh, what a mistake there, and Archer has to take avoiding action, and a little bit of contact there between Kicera and Archer, I think that was. And Thomas Merrill getting out of the way with just over a minute to go in our qualifying session. This is the 3rd race of the series. We're looking maybe to go to Daytona next. We're going to confirm that hopefully for you, but we're going to all the iconic circuits around America, and there's no question that Road Atlanta absolutely fits into that category. Been there many times, both with bike racing and car racing. This is a circuit that was owned by Don Panos. He did a lot of the refurbishing of the original circuit that was built in the 70s, and it's been a staple for racing, especially sports cars. Moto America do their bike racing there. IMSA, obviously, and the Petit Le Mans is what it's most famous for, which takes place, of course, in October every year. Now, here is Stretch, Logan Stretch. Now, his background, he's from Arlington, Texas, and I know he's done some Spec Miata races, but really he's another one of those future guys because his father, Bob Stretch, was a 2-time TA2 champion.
Yeah, Logan, it's great to have Logan out here. It looks like he's going to be pretty fast. For his first time to be in the top 10 with these guys, it's great to see him out here. It's great to have more Trans Am royalty in these futures. We hope to see him in an actual Trans Am car, a real-life Trans Am car, and here in the future.
Yeah, this is really good to see, and the good onboards here as we have the checkered flag now. So that should pretty much complete. Eben actually was quickest in that lap. He went 7th quickest, and he's just 0.7 behind the leader, Hurley, who is 119.383. But look at Kicera, just 0.189 off that time. And Nick Racino's not far away too. He's just 0.237. Then it drops down a little bit to Ernie Francis Jr. Not that many who took part in the real race here last year entered today. Ernie Francis was obviously in the TA race last year. He got a 10th place last year in this race, so he'll be looking to improve. Ernie currently 3rd overall for One South Florida Wealth Advisors on 49 points after Laguna Seca. And that's the number 46 of Carl Reitquist from Pleasanton, California. He'll be another one to watch. He's shown a good pace in the sim so far. Carl Reitquist currently in 15th position, not the best of qualifying, as we look at another one of our new men this weekend. That's Michael Fine from Sacramento, California. He races in the TA West Championship. In the number 66, there he is. FMR Racing and Architectural Glass Systems are his sponsors. I love the liveries, really good, really impressive. So then, qualifying done. And as Ben says, we'll have 2 races with a reverse top 10 for race 2. But it's Hurley, because Racino, that front row of Hurley and Kicera, the 2 top men in the championship, as it should be. Racino and Francis Jr., then Southern, Stretch, Sevadjian, Merrill's up there, Eben in 9th position, and then Archer 10th. Vaccaro is 11th. RJ Lopez 12th, Lawrence, Lagasse Jr. 14th, Reitquist, Wood, Borchetta, Atwell, Parsons, Ricardo Jr. coming in 20th position, as is Fine, Michael Fine 21st, Barkow in 22nd, Lostowski in 23rd, then White, Aponte Rios. Good to have Michelle Abate from Las Vegas finally making the grid. She couldn't get in last weekend, but she's here this weekend, and so too returning Boris Said. Bernlauer Neubauer, another Drew Neubauer from Austin, Texas, 29th, and Winston 30th. A big bumper field, just what we wanted. I was talking to John Claggett during the week, and he's been delighted with the uptake of and interest in this series, and it's really great. We've been doing Zoom driver briefings and getting to know everybody, and I'm going to be putting up some longer interviews on social media, as will Amy Greenaway, our press officer. So we'll get to know these guys as the E-Series continues. But this weekend, it's Road Atlanta. Plenty of action to come from this iconic circuit. We'll take a short break here, and we'll be back from Atlanta, Georgia, after this. Welcome back to Road Atlanta, where the lights are about to go out on our first race. And away we go, and a good start. Road, Tyler Kicera up against the championship leader, Josh Hurley, as the run to the first corner and then up the famous hill here at Road Atlanta. Good clean start, and now we're going to have to jostle for position because it's a blind crest at the top of this hill, but it's Kicera who holds the lead. Nice and cleanly done. And just behind, a mistake there by Kicera in second place, excuse me. Kicera just going slightly wide. And it's Hurley who leads in the number 3. So Josh Hurley, our championship leader, by 12 points coming into Road Atlanta, leads the way. And look at him already pulling away, Ben, as he heads down towards turn 6 for the first time. He's already built a couple of lengths lead.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough for those guys to catch him because he's always fast as we follow along with our 6-time champion, Ernie Francis Jr., as they come down that long back stretch downhill into turn 10A and 10B.
And somebody just got turned around. I think that could be Ed Sevadjian. We'll have a look here. But obviously down this back straight here and down into turn 10. This is the biggest overtaking opportunity. And we're on board with number 38, Ed Sevadjian. And that was a classic overtake at Road Atlanta as he comes up the hill, under the bridge and down towards the final corner here. But look in his virtual mirror there, you can see that he's got people all over the back of him and in front. Lap 2 of 15, and it's all going on here. He's got 3 cars in front of him. This is Thomas Merrill we're on board with now in the number 81 from Salinas, California. Certainly one of the favorites for the championship. Clean road ahead of Josh Hurley. And through the S is the beautiful sound of these GTLM Corvettes.
Yeah, and it's really fitting that we're at Road Atlanta in the second round because Road Atlanta was the second round on our normal schedule before this COVID hit. And I want to point out also Thomas Merrill doing really well in the top 6, but last year, I think he qualified first or second, but broke his clutch in the second round last year. So he's looking to do well here today at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
Well, I've got a bit of Anorak trivia for you. The first ever race at Road Atlanta was held in the early 70s. The Grand Marshal was a man we lost just a week ago, the great Sir Sterling Moss. So there you go, a little bit of trivia for you. But it's got a wonderful history, and certainly the drivers love racing here. There's the number 32. That's Dylan Archer from Keller, Texas. He's been one of the favorites, and he kind of puts himself as a professional sim racer. And that's probably the only one of the few sim races we've actually got. Everybody's got a connection to Trans Am, whether they're future Trans Am stars like Archer, Dylan Archer, or in Archer's case, they are part of a dynasty. Bob Archer and the Archers have been part of, just like the Picketts, have been part of Trans Am for many years. And so we like to welcome our brethren. This is
Look
good
at
racing.
how close this racing is between the 3rd and like the 7th place. You could throw a blanket on these guys, Jonathan.
Yeah, Merrill's currently 6th. He's got Archer in front of him. Then Francis just up the road from him. For those of you familiar with Trans Am, look out for Ernie Francis's 98 because he's gone away from the light blue and the white that he had with his Breathless team, and he's gone for a much darker, grayer color. And of course, he's got that one sad sponsorship moment there for Lawrence. I think he just went slightly wide there, but he's gathered it all back together as we look back down the back straight, coming out of 7 and down towards 8 and 9, which are really just flat out. You can see it's a slight jink, but it's a long run all the way down to turn 10, and then this final right-hand corner in 4th gear, I may add. And I've seen, I can't think of who it was, but it might have been Mark Miller who had a problem here a couple of years ago. We're hoping that Mark, our current TA2 champion, will be back in the championship at the next round. He's been sent to him. He's a big sim guy, and he could shake things up because it looks as though we're starting to get a pattern, Ben, of Hurley, Kicera, and a sort of a nominal few who are all very good at sim racing.
Yeah, and I think we just had a pass. Thomas Merrill passed Dylan Archer, and it looks like Dylan Archer's trying to get it right back going into turn 6 here.
Yeah, and like we said, we've got a variance of rigs out there. Some guys going quite simple. Boris said was claiming that he only had a $300 setup, and I know that likes of Borchetta and a few others have some pretty dinky stuff, and I was getting some pictures of some of them, and we're on board with Thomas Merrill as he attacks. Excuse me, we're on board with Archer as he stays with Merrill. He's going to try to have an overtake, but that was a good cover off by Merrill. You've got to leave your braking really late into 10 and try to close the door, but you've got to be careful because the right line is to be on the right-hand side of the circuit as you turn in, but that leaves the door open by proxy. We go on board with Cameron Lawrence, certainly one of the pre-season favorites, and I'd say pre-season because we did have a practice race at Lime Rock, which was the weekend dominated by this man Lawrence.
Yeah, I've gotten word, Jonathan, that it was actually Lawrence that had that spin there at turn 4 into the walls. I'm not sure if there was contact, but that's why he's back at 14th trying to fight his way up, but I'm sure he's got damage, making it harder for him to drive.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because we do have damage on the cars, and what we mean by that in the game is that the cars will not be stopped. There's no need to take pit stops. You'll see the damage visually, but when you have damage, when there has been contact, that can lead to two things. One, you may be adjudged to get a penalty and a weight penalty for the following weekend. But the other thing is, it will actually slow your top speed down, which here at Road Atlanta will make a difference, especially out of this turn 7 and down to the long run towards 8, 9, and 10. RJ Lopez doing a handy job, up to 6th place now. RJ, really impressive. Didn't show that well in the first weekend, but the man from Val Harbor, Florida, with Republica Racing.
Well, that's been a trend, Jonathan, that we're seeing, that Hurley, Kicera, Francis, Merrill, Racino, JP Southern, Sevadjian, they've been with us from the beginning. But as the people like RJ Lopez come in, it takes a little while to catch up to these drivers. But then, based on how much practice they get through the week, they can get really fast, really quick. And we've seen some huge improvements in the driving and the racing in these sim races.
Yeah, we're looking at Adrian Lostowski, who is an SGT entry with Fast Auto, Hawk Performance, and Forge Line wheels. I'm surprised, when we started this sim, he was all over it, helping people out, getting set up. And I thought he was going to be the dark horse, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was too. And he is still helping everybody out. But I think what's happening is he's helped everybody out a little bit too much, and maybe he wasn't able to practice as much.
Getting down to the halfway point in this race as we go on board now with Tyler Kicera, the man in 2nd place. And one thing that will be a factor here is traffic. He's got the leader in front of him. It's just 0.6 between them. But the traffic you can see ahead. Hurley is now getting into traffic, and Kicera just went quickest. 119.8, and that was 0.4 quicker than Hurley. So Hurley has got the hurry up. He'll have seen that lap time, and he's going to be, and they can see them diving through the traffic now at one of the toughest places on the course. And it's going to get a bit hurly-burly at the moment, because it's getting interesting now as we come into traffic at the halfway point.
Yeah, this is my favorite part of the track here, coming out of 5, going into 6 and 7. These are very deceptive turns. Turn 6 has a different radius than turn 7. They look the same from in-car, but they're totally different. And then this turn right here that we're on board with Kicera makes all the difference in getting the speed coming down this long straight, up the hill, then down the hill into the passing zone at 10A, 10B.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Getting out of 7 is the key corner, I think, at Road Atlanta, because you've got to give it full gas, but you can't go too wide. Get a wheel on the grass there, and you lose all the impetus down to this point here, which is turn 10, which then takes you back up the hill, under the bridge, and finishes the lap. So we'll be starting lap 8 in a moment, but at the moment, Hurley doing a good job. He's responded well, taking the gap now to just over a second by setting the fastest lap, a 19.652 to a 19.962 by Kicera. They are taking strips off each other in fastest laps. Francis goes quickest in his laps so far, so everybody improving now, but Francis some 6 seconds away. Ernie Francis Jr. in 3rd place, but we've got an battle between our two championship contenders early on in this E-Series, Josh Hurley and Tyler Kicera, and it's still going on here on the 8th lap. Now the question is, we go back to Stretch, who is currently just behind Merrill in 5th place, and now back with a number 3 just ahead, and that is Hurley. And look, there is nothing between them, but where will he go, Ben? Where's he going to make his overtake? Into 10?
I think he has to. He's maybe going to try to dive, but you want to dive bomb. That's not where you want to be going into 10A. You want to be on the left side of the car, but maybe he can outbrake him. This is going to be quite a maneuver.
This is a drag race. Look at it. Oh, it's something. It's going to end in tears as they head to 10. They're side by side. Oh, and Kicera just squeezes through. Nicely done. But back comes Josh Hurley. They're side by side again under the bridge, and Hurley takes the lead. Brilliant racing.
Oh, that was great. And I want to thank the directors for switching to that camera from onboard to letting us watch it from the track, because that was the closest racing we've seen yet in this sim series with Trans Am.
Great job by Super Jens, and this battle continues. Look at it. It's wheel to wheel as we're back on board with Kicera, who's getting a full headlight display from the car in front of him as they go down the hill, this very tricky part of the track, then up through the S's. And like you say, some of the drivers saying that in real life they can use the curbs more, whereas here you can really get penalized heavily if you hit the curbs too hard as we dive into turn 6 again. Dropping through the gearbox to third gear, staying now in second with Kicera. Gets good drive up to third place, and he'll try and tuck himself in behind Josh Hurley as he did last time out, but I don't think he's as close as he was the lap before. But this is a really good ding-dong battle between the pair of them, and you can see nothing behind at the moment. Ernie Francis Jr. is quite some distance. You head down towards turn 10 again. It's not close enough for an overtake in my mind, and he doesn't do it here.
No, and that's the beauty of this, is they were really stressing to the drivers in the drivers meeting to really treat this like you would your actual car. And these guys, drivers, are taking that to heart. And we're seeing some great racing from these guys. They're racing really hard door to door, but they're not wrecking each other. And they're doing the actual racing lines at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
Yeah, really good. And look at the smoothness as we go back with Merrill as he battles with the number 58. And this is a good one. And it's side-by-side racing up the hill. Stretches in the 58, Merrill alongside each other as they dive in through again. Nothing between them. Really, really good racing here at Road Atlanta, but we've come to expect that from this iconic track. And they're battling for a top 5, top 4 position. And bouncing over the curbs goes Merrill. We go back on board now with Thomas Merrill as he dives into turn 6. Back with Kicera, back down the long straight. Now, is he close enough this time? I would argue not. But there is, Ben, some traffic ahead of our leader, Josh Hurley.
Yeah, you know, this track, like any other road racing track, it's where you meet that lap traffic. And it looks like they're going to possibly meet this lap traffic at turn 1.
Mistake by Kicera. Big mistake by Tyler Kicera, and he's lost a few seconds there to Josh Hurley. And as we'll see as they come across the line, but he made a big mistake, outbraked himself into 10. And Hurley's just done his fastest lap on 19.6. That was a 22.8 by Kicera. He's lost a lot of time. That could be put pain to their battle. That could be it. That could be what makes the difference in this very tight race.
Yeah, we've seen it time and time again that Josh Hurley doesn't make many mistakes. Neither does Tyler Kicera, but maybe that time Tyler got a little bit over-aggressive, just overshot 10A. And now Hurley looks to be about 3 seconds ahead of Tyler Kicera for the lead.
Well, it's also brought Ernie Francis Jr. into the picture too, because he'll be sniffing away at a chance to go second as we go back. Well, the number 88 Parsons, Cameron Parsons, Hanford, California, another one on the TA2 West, and he's got some traffic. He's got behind, he's got some in front. He's got to stay out of trouble, and he just says, "Right, I'm out of here. I don't want anything to do with you lot. I'm out of here."
Yeah, that was the same thing. Adrian Lostowski.
Lostowski hits the wall and gets spun around, and I don't think that was anyone's fault. I'd like to see that again, but 2 cars involved. Parsons, as I said, got the heck out of there. He sensed trouble. A big pileup involving Adrian Lostowski and one other car, but that was big. Lawrence has gone up to 12th position now. Rydquist down to 13. Meanwhile,
now we're on board with
still pushing on to Streck.
Yeah, Thomas Merrill and his HP tuners, Mike Coke Corvette, coming down here trying to get Logan stretched. We know Thomas Merrill had some bad luck at Laguna Seca Raceway last weekend and really is looking for a good showing here as they come into turn 1 going up the hill.
Yeah, I love this section of the track, but it's tough. Look, that crest is completely blind, and then you head left, right, downhill, over the curbs, and you've got to be careful not to hit them too hard, as we've said before. Meanwhile, you got a race. We're back to Legacy Jr. now. I'm surprised. Got down in 20th place. He's behind Michael Fine at the moment. So Scott Lagasse Jr. still getting to grips with his daughter's deck chair. And if you wonder what I'm talking about, he's sitting on his daughter's 10-year-old's deck chair, I believe. That's his race seat. So Lagasse Jr. at a bit of a disadvantage, but...
Yeah, we spoke to him a few weeks ago, and he basically clamps the steering wheel. He's got the... And he was even saying that he was practicing in flip-flops. So I'd like to see if he's changed his setup or if he's still using that SpongeBob SquarePants beach chair as it is.
Well, there's been some good smack talk on this morning. Josh Hurley not happy to get out of bed so early for the driver's briefing. And everybody said, oh, great, Josh Hurley's asleep. We got a chance. Well, unfortunately not. He's woken up now. Good battling all the way through. Here's Ed Sevadjian battling with Tom. And he's another one of the big machine vodka men in the bright red. Look at that. Big machine, nicely done. Borchetta's teammate. And in fact, I believe he's doing some coaching with Scott, right? Oh, look at this racing, guys.
Yeah, Edward is coaching Scott. They look at each other's videos after these races and practices, but you know, Edward Sevadjian and JP Southern, they both race in TA2 in the same class in real life, and I think they're going to have a rivalry now when they get to the track, because this is 2 weeks in a row that these guys have gone head-to-head for lap after lap.
Yeah, no kidding. And as you say, JP Southern also a former single-seater man, and he is in Trans Am. He came in to the series at Daytona last year. Boy, as they go through 6.
Well, that's teammates right there. That's Scott Borchetta in front of him.
Ah, brilliant. So he's got to be careful there. He doesn't want to take his teammate out, that's for sure. So he'll try and slingshot past Borchetta and try to get on level terms with JP Southern. Time running out, though, now in our esports race 3 of the series, and the first of 2 here at Road Atlanta. We'll do a reverse top 10, and at the moment that means that Wood, the number 34, Jeff Wood from Athens, Ohio, could well be starting on the front row if it finishes this way. We go back to 12th place Lopez, who's got a chance of maybe just sneaking through and maybe having a go at Lawrence in the three-dimensional car before the end of the race. Those distinct three-dimensional colors of Doug Peterson, really nice. They've done a great job on the liveries over the week, has the game. And our thanks once again to Torque Motorsports and UMG. And if you want,
Jonathan, if you see it, Lawrence right now is 11th. And if you've been following along, he's usually always fast. So that might be the place he wants to be at the end of this race, knowing he can't catch up, but he's going to be starting in the first row of the second race.
Well, Hurley's got some traffic ahead of him as he dives down into the dip and down towards 10, but he's now eked out a 4.5-second lead over Kicera, who made a mistake right here last time out, or a couple of laps ago, I should say. And the traffic, it looks, will be getting out of the way as Hurley comes towards the line. Oh, I say they're getting out of the way. There's a big smash there. 2 cars involved. And this now the final lap, and that was a big moment for Josh Hurley because he saw that unfold right in front of him as they went down the main straight, and he was lucky not to be embroiled in that. But this has been plain sailing for Josh Hurley. Josh Hurley of Jetco Racing, McAleese & Associates, a famous name here in Trans Am. But Hurley's going to increase his lead in the championship after this first race. To do it again in race 2 is going to be a big ask because he's going to have to start pretty much midfield. But so far, he hasn't put a foot wrong. And really, the defining moment of this race, Kicera was closing in on him, and he just made one mistake at turn 10, outbraked himself, lost the time, and he's not been able to bring it back. Francis Jr. has closed down in 3rd place, but he'll stay there. Stretch at the moment has won the battle between himself and Merrill, and Racino up to the top 6 now as we come down the back straight for the final time then.
Yeah, I love these turns right here. This is where Hurley's just saying, hit all your marks, hit the brakes, don't worry about passing this lap traffic. We've got time as we come down the hill to a corner that's just always really tough. Right here, the car gets light, and then the car compresses here as he takes a checkered flag.
Yes, and it's going to be Hurricane Hurley who blows into Atlanta and blows the field away. Josh Hurley, our championship leader, wins the first race here at Michelin Road Atlanta. Kicera will take second place. Francis Jr. holding on desperately for third. Stretch and Merrill. Whoa, more action here. There was the 21 of Boris Said. And Southern getting into fisticuffs right at the end there. I think Boris Said actually was being lapped at the time. And, oh, we got all sorts of drama.
That's the third time we've seen Lostowski lose it at that last turn.
He's had an eventful day. There's somebody in the pits as well. That's Neubauer. So lots of drama. There's Ken Vaccaro. We haven't spoken much about Ken, one of our new boys. Good to have him on board. A new B2 Trans Am, as is JP Southern. And those two have raced each other in single-seaters before now, back in Formula 4 and Formula 3. And the 88 of Parsons coming to finish his race down in 17th position, just ahead of Michael Fine. Bernlauer in 19th place, and Scott Legacy Jr. rounding out the top 20. But it's another victory and a march forward for Josh Hurley. He's been the man to beat so far in the early stages of this championship. And he's done it again in style as everybody starts to file into the pits. Bernlauer just coming to the checkered flag, quite some way back. He will finish 19th. There's Legacy Jr., he'll finish and pull into the pits. So then, first race from Road Atlanta, and it's Josh Hurley with another win. 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds ahead of Kicera. Ernie Francis Jr. on the podium again ahead of Logan Stretch, then Thomas Merrill, Racino in 6th place, Southern, Sevadjian, Archer, Lawrence, Wood, Lopez, Reichwitz, Vaccaro 14th, Eben 15th, Accardo Jr., Parsons, Fine, Bronlower, Legacy Jr., Barkow, Loftoski, who was in the wars for sure, Boschetta, Aponte, Rios, Abate, Winston, Norbar, Said, Cliff White, and John Atwell in 30th position. That's how race 1 panned out. We have a reverse top 10 for race 2. Join us from Braselton at Road Atlanta after this break. Welcome to the 2020 Trans Am by Pirelli Esports Championship as we get ready for race 2, and away we go, and it's Lawrence who leads them away in the yellow and red three-dimensional services car. Cameron Lawrence, one of the pre-season favorites, leads the field here, and it's Lawrence, Sevadjian, Archer. Sevadjian's gained a spot, so has Archer. Southern drops down a little bit. Stretch drops down as well, but Merrill is the one that's lost out most, but it's Lawrence who leads as they head down the hill for the first time. Good start, Ben.
Oh, yeah, great start as we follow him through these S's. One of my favorite parts of the track. Cameron Lawrence, two-time TA2 champion, leading the field, starting the race right where he wanted to be, and we see number 58 hit the curb there and hit the wall right outside of turn 5.
Yeah, that was a nasty incident, and we were warned, weren't we, that if you hit those curbs too heavily, that's what can happen, and he got spun right round. But yeah, good start. That's Sevadjian in 3rd place at the moment.
And look where we are, on board with Edward Sevadjian, and he's right there with JP Southern again for the second week in a row.
Oh, he's got the better of him this time, but he's in the wrong place on the track. Will Southern come back at him? If he's worth his salt, he does! JP holds the line. Nice work, son. And now Sevadjian's got somebody in his mirrors too, so while he's racing Southern, he's got Racino right there ready to pass. And this is a really good start. And we haven't mentioned too much about Nick Racino. He was a factor, the man from your favorite place, Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Oh yeah, I love saying that. But look at this. We've got Ernie Francis Jr. already back up in 5th, Tyler Kicera in 6th. I don't know how these guys have already worked their way up, and Josh Hurley in 9th place. So it's only taken them 1 lap to work their way back into the top 10.
Well, Kicera's surely going to be hitting himself after the mistake he made last time out in race 1. So he'll want to get past Ernie Francis Jr. and he'll also want to stay away because he knows that Josh Hurley will be coming sometime during this 15-lap race. It's 9th at the moment. And we've got a bit of a traffic jam as we exit 7. Key to get the drive out of here. Now can he have a go and come alongside Ernie Francis Jr.? Got to time it to perfection here. You don't want to do an overtake just here. You want to wait a little bit. Wait till you get over the crest of 9 and then pounce. And that's where we are coming up to now. And that's exactly what Kicera is trying to do. And that's exactly, that's textbook. Nicely done. You can't fight against that. That's brilliant stuff. And I say that, and Francis almost comes back at him up the hill. But that was a really nice overtake.
Yeah, it was. And, Ernie Francis is one of our smartest drivers. He's won 6 championships, and that's not by mistake. He knows it's early in the race. He gives them the corner and lives to fight another day.
Yeah. I've been asked about actual Trans Am racing and what's so good about it. I had a long conversation with Mark Miller, and, it's the power on a small circuit like Road Atlanta like this. You've got way more power than you need. You've got none of the trickery, as you were, of a Petit Le Mans for sports car IMSA racing, where you've got the traction control and the brake bias and everything else. This is pure racing. It's muscle car racing at its finest. It's been that way for 54 years, and I hope it doesn't change for another 54 years.
Yeah, I love it. It's like Dorsey Schrader says, it's racing an 850-plus horsepower go-kart. There's no driver aids, no driver assist. It's very limited technology, but you've got 850 horsepower trying to put that down to the rear wheels and keep grip. And that's tough at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta.
Yeah, no question. Hurley up to 8th place now. He's got ahead of Archer. He's got Lopez, RJ Lopez in his sights now as we go back with Tyler Kicera, who's still dealing with traffic. Oh, Kicera makes a move. Nicely done again at 10. And like I said, there are other places to overtake, but that's the classic overtake position and the safest place to overtake.
Yeah, and it's also, I think the drivers are used to kind of looking in their mirrors there and knowing they've got a fast driver like Kicera or Hurley behind them. And because it's so early, had this been like 3 laps left, Nick Racino may not have given him that position, but Nick wants to finish the race, and we're going to see what he can do now coming down these S's.
Yeah, and for those of you tuning in for the first time, especially the sim races, we don't have a lot of... we have a same fuel load for everyone. It's not an issue. Same for tires. They won't wear out per se, so they've turned that off as well. So we just want to, because a lot of these guys aren't sim racers or don't sim race. Some of them coach, some of them race. But we had a field basically of professional Trans Am drivers, some with a lot of experience in sim racing, some with none at all. So we wanted to make it clean fun. We wanted to make it good racing. And we also wanted to leave the damage so that everybody could get to the end. Obviously, we've got their customized liveries now, so we want to see those. And so really, it is about pure racing. And I quite like the fact that we haven't put all the controls on. Great stand from Ernie Francis Jr., currently in 6th in the 98. They're getting used to those colors of Ernie Francis Jr. But you can see that one South Florida on the car, and his new sponsor for this season, in fact, is One South Florida, Wealth Advisors. They, in fact, do financial advice for athletes and musicians and those in the entertainment world. Sarah, not afraid to use the...
No, and Jonathan, this is turning into a great race, and if you would have said, pick the top 10. We've been following this sim series for a while now. I think we would have gotten 8 of these top 10 guys with Hurley now moved his way all the way into 8th place behind RJ Lopez. This is going to be quite a good race with 10 laps left.
Yeah, no question. I'm surprised to see Eben down in 18th place, but then again, he's racing against Ryquist and Parsons, who are pretty handy as we go back with Hurley coming out of 7. Number 3, Josh Hurley, our championship leader. And where Tyler Kicera finishes this race will be important for the championship, because he wants to finish as high up as possible so that he doesn't lose too many points to the leader.
Yeah, and we're following along now with JP Southern in second place following Cameron Lawrence. There for a while, he was right on his bumper, but he passed lap traffic coming out of 10B as they go into turn 1. And let's see if JP Southern can get Lawrence, but he knows he's got Kicera right behind, followed by a train of our top drivers.
I know the happiest man in motor racing is JP Southern's dad, because he does all the repairs to JP's cars, does all the work in preparation in the real world. So I'm sure he's just kicking back, having a bud right now, watching his son race.
Yeah, and it's quite a good race as they come into turn 5. And can JP Southern, new to TA2, catch a veteran and 2-time champion in TA2 of Cameron Lawrence?
Early, up to 7th now. And he's got Sevadjian in the Big Machine vodka car ahead of him as they dive towards turn 6. Hurley reeling him in. Nice and controlled.
Yeah, love the sound of these cars.
Oh, a little bit of oversteer, but that's where you want to get on the power as early as possible. That may have slowed him down, or it may have just got him the drive he needed, but I don't think he did. He just got a little bit of oversteer there. Power down too early. Ernie Francis Jr. still there in 4th position. There he is. And behind him, Racino in the purple. I love these liveries. Really, really impressed. They've taken a lot of time to get these right, and it's really showing. And this is really important to a championship that, like all motor racing right now, it's not racing in the real world, but we can get our sponsors out there and we can do a good job for them. I was talking to John Claggett. He's really pleased with the uptake. Some plus 50 drivers all interested in taking part in this E-Championship. We hope to go racing at Indianapolis in June. That's the hope. Ooh, damage to Abate's car there. That's Michelle Abate, and she just goes wide, lets that traffic through. She's got wing damage to the rear wing, as Michelle. And that's slowing her down. That's why the battle goes on ahead of her. And oh, Francis Jr. and Kicera touch then for a moment as they dive to 7. Racino trying to get past. Good racing. Stewards might have a word, though.
Yeah, I don't think Ernie's going to be very happy about that. But this, what I've seen, Jonathan, with this is the improvement in the racing. And these guys, because they can't race in real life, these guys are taking the sim racing so seriously.
Go on, Nick. Oh, and that was good defensive driving from Ernie. But Nick thought about it. Oh, JP Southern spins round at 10. And we were on board with Racino. You can see what they're dealing with. Fantastic onboard shots. Last corner, bouncing over the curve. Somebody else coming. Oh, he just avoids him. I'm not sure if that was Borchetta.
That was Cam Ebbett, I think, in that car that came across the main straight.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, he's gone down the list. He's dropping down. But Nick Racino was in a position there, and Ernie Francis defended well. So, this, the 4th race of our E-Championship. Tyler Kicera in 2nd place, but some 5 seconds adrift of the man leading at the moment, Cameron Lawrence, who was the preseason favorite after Lime Rock and is now starting to show his true form. 5-second lead, he shouldn't relinquish that, but he's got to worry about traffic in the closing stages. Hurley, we've been watching his progress. He's gone from 9th to 7th, and he's now behind Edward Sevadjian. Here we go.
These cars sound so good. It's even drafting Edward Sevadjian right now as they come down this hill, a long straightaway. They're probably going plus 150 miles an hour. Hard on the brakes. The car starts to compress hard to the left as JP Southern goes wide.
JP Southern again. That's the 2nd time in a row. He rejoins ahead, but he might have to relinquish that spot, I think. Taking a little bit of a detour there. So another mistake by JP in this battle between Hurley and Sevadjian raging on. The Californian and the Texan going at it in Georgia. And now JP's a bit of a human bollard, or a mechanical bollard, because he's in their way and on their racing line. And this could be Josh Hurley's big opportunity here. Down the hill they
really
come.
It's really hard to pass. It's one lane basically through those S's unless somebody's really slow. But then coming in here into turn 6, there's a good braking zone if they can make it.
Yeah, turn 6 is one of those really committed overtakes if you do it. You're very close and you've got to commit, and if somebody's on that inside line, there's really not a chance to do it. The whole thing is to try and get drive out of here. And I think now Hurley's in a good spot. He's got 3 cars ahead of him, including the man he's after, and that, of course, is Sevadjian in the 38. And Sevadjian is trying to clear them early to create a little bit of space, but Hurley's wise to it, and he does the same. And I don't think he's going to be close enough as they dive into 10 this time. No, and he isn't. But he's got time, 5 laps to go, 4 after this. And we're now back on sort of lap record pace for our e-racing. 197 by Racino. A little bit of damage by Kicera there. I'm wondering if that's slowing it down. And yeah, you can see the windshield of Sevadjian. And JP Southern goes through. He's having a real battle. He can't get away from himself, JP. Sevadjian walks by. JP's not letting him by. Fair enough.
Yeah, you can see that JP Southern's car is highly damaged. His windshield is cracked. Looks like he's got some steering issues because it's not like JP to be this out of control. And you know that Edward is just sweating it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think Ed just wants past him quick because he knows the quicker he can get past, the more chance he's got of holding off Hurley. And the longer he stays there, the closer Hurley's getting it. And this is Hurley's big chance now, surely. On to the power and up towards 8. 10 laps gone. We go on board with Ed Sevadjian. He needs to clear JP Sub now, or at least before 10. And here he goes. He'll jig to the outside, but JP's holding him off. Nicely done. And there just isn't room for an overtake there, and he almost touches JP, and they come alongside each other. Oh, Tyler Kicera almost joins the 3-way battle now. Kicera trying to get past Southern. But that was a great move by Edward Sevadjian to take JP Southern. Kicera trying to come with them. They dive into turn 1 and back up the hill. Go ahead, Ben.
Great strategy also by Edward, because now Kicera's going to have a hard time getting past Southern. Southern's been really good at making his car super wide going down these S's, and that might give Edward Sevadjian a little bit of room to gain on the leaders. You know who I'm most impressed with is Nick Racino, right now in 4th place. He's a West Coast driver. He's probably never driven Road Atlanta, and now he's in 4th place behind our 6-time champion, Ernie Francis Jr.
Yeah, you know, I pulled last year's results. The race last year in TA2 was won by Rafa Matos, Mark Miller 2nd, Dylan McAvern 3rd, and it was only about 5 drivers who actually, on this entry list, raced in our series in this race last year. So, yeah, like you say, the West Coast guys doing a good job of getting the Road Atlanta circuit to go back on board. It's Hurley now trying to approach JP Southern, who's proved to be quite a stickler. Bouncing over the curves again. That's why JP made his mistakes up until now. Oversteer. JP goes for the move again on Edward Sevadjian and takes him. Nicely done. Now, can Sevadjian come back at him? Meanwhile, Hurley's going to go around the outside of turn 1. Surely not. Oh, there's nowhere to go. Oh, come on. Great racing. Look at this. A 4-way battle. You can throw a blanket over them. Hurley right in the middle of it. In the number 3, and he has got past Southern. And Ficaro's joined this one. Ken Ficaro, bit of a track specialist here. I remember watching him race F3 this time last year.
So Jonathan,
Trans Am. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. What advice would you be giving Josh Hurley right now if you were Jim McAleese on the wall talking to him? Because he's taking a big risk with his points by staying so close to that fight. He could have easily been taken out there at turn 1.
Well, yeah, I would just say, hey, man, calm it down. There is $20,000 worth of prize money and the Trigon Trophy to be won. He's in a great position to extend his lead. He's had a bump of 4 races so far. And yeah, if I was a sleep manager, I'd say don't get involved with fights with people like JP Southern because you'll come off worse. But he does make a move this time. And that's an excellent overtake. And now look what's happened. Oh, no! Hurley, what on earth? Josh Hurley gets turned around, our championship leader. And Ben, you called that so well. Here I am giving him advice to calm down, and he gets in trouble.
Yeah, he should have followed your advice, Jonathan.
I guess so. Well, sadly, I don't think he's lost too many spots. He's showing eighth at the moment behind Archer. So it's Lawrence, Kicera, Francis Jr. And this is big news for Tyler Kicera, who is second in the championship at the moment. Here he is. Carbotech sponsored brand and Carbotech Brakes and Cow Racing Enterprises. And this will be a good result for Kicera. And look, it's only 1.4 seconds now off Lawrence here in the closing stages. And if Lawrence gets into traffic, which he is doing, Kicera's got a chance at this. This isn't over yet, Ben, by any means.
Oh, no way. And how Kicera's been running, he's so smooth. He doesn't look like he's got a ton of damage. He's got a little bit of damage to his right front as he comes down the hill here after his car gets super light. And this is where he's really going to start to turn it on. I think it's going to be all or nothing for Kicera here. Or if somebody's telling him that Hurley's way back, he might just be happy holding the second place behind Cameron Lawrence.
Well, everybody putting in quick laps here on the penultimate lap. Kicera does his fastest lap, just tips into the 119s. And all eyes on the number 4. Somebody goes wide because Kicera could win this race. The gap is down to 1.1 seconds now. Lawrence starting to sweat. He's got lap markers behind him. He's got Kicera on a strip trying to catch him here in the closing stages of Road Atlanta. Race 4, round 2 of the series. Our first ever Pirelli Esports Championship. Edward Sevadjian comes alongside on the outside of 5, but he gets hung out to dry. And 6, gets hung out to dry. Chasing Ernie Francis Jr. And I would have said Racino's got a chance here of an overtake.
Yeah, Nick Racino fighting really hard at Road Atlanta, so far away from home, trying to make a podium on our 6-time champion, Ernie Francis Jr., as they come down the hill into 10A.
And the Florida Bullet, though, holding him off in the 98. Nice line from Ernie Francis Jr. There in second place. And now the final lap. You can see the gap for yourself. A 119.5 on that previous lap has drawn the gap down to 0.7 of a second. We have a race on, folks, here in Atlanta, Georgia. Lawrence holding on, but for how long? Because Kicera is coming and coming fast. But where, Ben?
Yeah, this gap is closing super fast as they come in here into turn 5 really hard. Kicera comes out really wide, hits the curb here, usually on his line, and this may be a passing zone into 6, but I think he's going to wait for 10A.
This is a humdinger. Into 6 they go. Nothing between them. Kicera and Lawrence. Lawrence looking for his first win. He bounces over the curb for a second. Out of 7 they come for the final time. They're side by side and then drag race down towards 8 and 9. Kicera gets the hurry up. Under the bridge they come. Defensive driving from Lawrence, trying to take up the whole road. Kicera alongside him, just behind, but he's in the wrong spot for the overtake because Lawrence has got the better line. Down towards 10 they come. Surely this is Lawrence's territory. Unless Kicera can slip by and get on the power early up the hill. It's going to be a drag race. Here we go, under the bridge. One more corner to go. Tyler Kicera holding on, but it's going to be Lawrence. Cameron Lawrence wins for the 3-dimensional Services B. What a race! That car was on excellent form. Cameron Lawrence does it in style, beating Tyler Kicera, who will narrow the gap on Josh Hurley, who in the end finishes 7th. Ernie Francis Jr. picks up another good podium. Racino is 4th. Sevadjian had a good race. He was 5th. JP Southern, who was in the wars a little bit, was 6th. Early 7th, Archer Wood Lopez. What a race, Ben. Top 10. Can't crumble at that, can you?
Oh, it just keeps getting better with this Trans Am by Pirelli Esports Championship here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. That was our best race, Jonathan, and I was hiding my fingernails there at the end, but Cameron Lawrence barely held on.
Yeah, we had 2 great races at Laguna Seca, but that was as good as we've got. The racecraft has massively improved. We're really starting to see the best of these. And as you mentioned, we had a real race at Sebring. Oh, where's the number 70 going? That's Rhett Barkow from Freeport, Illinois, just taking a little bit of a But we had a real race at Sebring, so these guys have been pent up and locked in their houses, doing the chores, doing the washing up and doing the cooking. They just wanted to go racing, and John Claggett came to their rescue and said, hey boy, let's go e-racing. We're loving it, absolutely loving it. We'll have a bumper meal of barbecue down in Atlanta tonight, and they know how to do their barbecue here in Georgia. And that concludes our 2 races at Michelin Road Atlanta, and a brilliant run for Cameron Lawrence. He takes the win ahead of Tyler Kicera, who will improve his championship hopes. Francis Jr. is definitely putting down his marker for the championship run. Racino has been constant, not necessarily getting the podiums, but there or thereabouts in every race. Sevadjian from Texas doing good in 5th place. JP Southern 6th. Hurley 7th, Archer Wood Lopez rounding out the top 10. Arcado Jr., his best result in 11th. Thomas Merrill did get into the top 12 ahead of Kent Vaccaro in 13th. Parsons, Whitequist, Bernlau, Loskowski, Fine, Barco, Borchetta 20th, Eben, then Cliff White, Norbauer, Lagacy Jr., Michelle Abati with that damaged rear wing, Winston, Boris said 27th, Aponte Rios, Stretch, Logan in 29th, and John Atwell in 30th. A really good couple of races from Road Atlanta. Ben, your thoughts?
Oh, I think it just keeps getting better. Really want to thank UMG and Torque Esports for helping us put this on. The Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. And I think that last race there, the race 4, round 2, was the best race we've seen, and it just keeps getting better, folks. So keep tuning into these races.
My thanks to Ben Sissel. I'm Jonathan Green. This has been a really fun weekend. I hope it's distracted you. We, on behalf of Trans Am, say stay safe, stay at home, and keep watching esports. We'll be back from Daytona, we hope, this time next week.